let's face it, you're the type of guy, right, who you're lonely at the minute, you can't get bitches, you don't get any looks from girls, you don't get any matches on Tinder, and overall you sort of struggle with women entirely. And you know yourself, bro, if a girl actually hit you up, any girl, you would take her. And look, a lot of us fail to sort of admit that, but that is the truth. So many men are just so down bad that like we would just take any sort of girl we can get. And the problem with that is we overlook a lot of red flags that girls blatantly just wave in front of you, like, you know, like you're not meant to notice. And a lot of men, like I said, get into these relationships with these girls who have like who have loads of red flags, and they end up getting into toxic relationships and just ruining their lives. You know, a lot of people are really stupid and make poor decisions and don't actually like try to sort of have a certain level of insight to actually look for what type of girl they want to get into their lives. And most people just don't care, you know. To most fellas, it's all just down to attraction. And look, that is one of the main factors for us men whenever we want to actually have, you know, our future wife. You know, we don't want them to look like Shrek. We want them to look actually good looking. You know, and a lot of people just fail to sort of actually look inwards and see what sort of red flags or what sort of like other traits do we want, you know, our future wives to have. And like I said, a lot of us end up getting into stupid scenarios with girls where you end up in toxic relationships and you overall leave the relationship just realizing that it was just a big fucking waste of time, and that 2 years, 3 years later down the line, you're 3 years older, and you know, you just realize that you just wish that never happened in the first place. And if that's you, this is the perfect sort of video for you, because this is a red flag that I don't really see a lot of people talking about on the internet. It's one that is very obvious. A lot of women nowadays have this red flag because it's such a prominent thing in our lives that it's so difficult for us to actually not have. And it's very rare that you do actually meet girls that don't actually have this red flag. And if you're wondering what it is, the red flag that I'm talking about is women who are addicted to social media. You see, if you're someone who's asking me right now, why is that such a big problem, girls who are addicted to social media or girls who are just on social media entirely? Well, let me fill you in. Social media, especially Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, is full of a lot of stupid people who give terrible advice. And the problem with social media is pretty much anyone can go viral. And, you know, you don't have to like be a certain type of person to go viral on social media. You can be a deranged psychopath and you could end up getting millions of views on your videos. And again, the problem with that is there's a lot of bad advice out online of these like deranged, broken, damaged women who overall will harm your own relationship with the girl that you have. Because if she's scrolling on TikTok and, you know, she's in her feelings one day and she is scrolling on TikTok and she comes across a video, top 10 signs that your boyfriend is, you know, a horrible boyfriend or whatever, and they just like list the most mundane things, she all of a sudden will just start like genuinely like having a bad negative view of you for no reason because of these bad influences of people on TikTok or Instagram. And you can see what I mean. Like, you could be in a relationship with a girl and it could be going well, and it could go very, very bad because she's seen something on TikTok that, you know, doesn't need to be talked about or brought up, and all of a sudden it can just cause the downfall of the relationship. Another reason why women being addicted to social media is such a big red flag is because you will always be compared to the men on social media that she has. You know the whole saying, the grass is greener on the other side. Well, pretty much on social media, you're being compared to every single guy on social media. You're always gonna be compared to a guy who is better looking than you, has more money than you, has higher status than you, and overall has like, it's just better than you in loads of different ways. And that is so mentally damaging because, you know, you're a guy and you go on social media and you're always gonna be like, that's the reason why social media, it gives you such bad mental health. But no one really talks about like the problem that can cause in a relationship. You know, you have a girlfriend, or even, you know, the same thing can apply to actually men. You know, if you're a guy and you're addicted to social media yourself, and, you know, I don't really talk about this an awful lot, this is the exact same thing when it comes to men. You know, both sides of the spectrum. If you go on social media, you're always like going to be looking at a better option. You're always going to be looking at a better girl. You're always going to be looking at, you know, if you're a girl, you're always going to be looking at a better guy who is better than the guy that you have. you know, women can't really help this, you know what I mean? People can't really help this at all, because like I said, that's just social media. You're just being exposed to the whole world. We're not, as human beings, we're not really made for social media. We're not meant to be always on social media all the time. And so like the minute you get into like an argument with a girl, or the minute you get into like, you know, a debate or whatever, you have a falling out or disagreement, she's always going to be like thinking of another guy. She's always going to be thinking of other men. And you can see the problem with that there. It just causes the relationship to just be so toxic for no reason. And overall, it's just having a negative impact on your relationship. So if you have a girl, or you're seeing a girl and you're not with her yet, and you know, she's the type of girl who's always on her phone scrolling on social media, she's always like talking about TikToks on Instagram, honest to God, bite the bullet and, you know, look for someone else. And you see, the problem is that you're the type of guy who will probably be commenting on this video saying, well, pretty much every girl is on social media. And that is true. Like, that's the sad reality of the world. The majority of women who are single are always on social media. You know, and this is a rule for me whenever I meet a girl. It's like the #1 thing. She must not be on social media. Like I said, she can have an account, you know, where she talks to friends or whatever, or it's like a private account, but I will never be with a girl who is like addicted to social media, you know, who's always, you know, on TikTok, who's always like liking shit. Because like I said, those relationships just don't last. You know, those sort of women are the sort of women who are more likely to cheat. They're more likely, like I said, to see that the grass is greener on the other side. They're more likely to compare you to other men. You will never be that sort of like #1 guy in her fucking life. So have some self-respect for yourself. And if you have someone in your life that you're dating who is like that, get rid of them, bro. Because like I said, you don't want to be wasting 3-4 years of your life being with these sort of women and going through absolute hell just because you're lonely and just to fill that sort of void that you have. Don't settle for what you have. You know, have standards and actually go out there. And if you can't attract the sort of woman that you want, well, then you need to do some work on yourself. And this is where this sort of YouTube channel is perfect for you. Don't waste your time looking back. We're not going that way.